Hello, my name is Ed Trippel. The title of my presentation is From Experimental to Commercial Ropeless Fishing in Atlantic Canada, Advances and Remaining Challenges. The objectives of my talk include investment in ropeless fishing, progress, challenges, and departmental policy. A number of agencies has provided funding for ropeless fishing. Those include the Atlantic Fisheries Fund, Innovative Solutions Canada, Canada Nature Fund for Aquatic Species at Risk, Pew Charitable Trust, Canada's Ocean Super Cluster, and more recently, DFO's Whale Safe Gear Adoption Fund. The Whale Safe Gear Adoption Fund was designed to support the adoption of new gear types to reduce entanglement risk of large whales. That includes low breaking strength modifications designed to alleviate entanglement, as well as ropeless or rope-on-demand systems designed to prevent entanglement. $20 million has been devoted towards this fund over 2 years, ending in March 2023, and it supports gear purchase and adoption, industry trials, and domestic manufacturing. In order to conduct ropeless fishing, the following has to proceed, and that is for conducting trials during the off-season. Experimental Section 52 permit has to be submitted and reviewed by the following regional sectors, and those include science, resource management, conservation and protection, and species at risk. If proceeding to do an experimental trial during the fishing season, one also requires review and approval within the regions and, in addition, the National Capital Region. In 2021, we had approved applications to do ropeless fishing in both New Brunswick and Nova Scotia for lobster and snow crab. One of the more popular ropeless fishing systems in Atlantic Canada has been the Trippel2021 Ropeless fishing system, and here I'm showing a few photos of this device. What's been exciting is that starting in 2018, when we first did experimental fishing, ropeless fishing, we moved now in 2020 and followed in 2021 with some of the experimental trials permitting the sale of the actual catch. And in this case here, you see a photo of snow crab being captured during ropeless fishing in 2020. In the 2021 Gulf of St. Lawrence snow crab ropeless fishery gear trials, we had 6 vessels fishing the EdgeTech ropeless system commercially in the closed areas of CFA 12, beginning on May 14th and ending on June the 11th. 3 vessels fished 2 units and another 3 fished 1 unit. 4 vessels had 10-pot trawls, 1 had a 17-pot trawl, and another had a 20-pot trawl. The reason they used different numbers of pots per trawl is they were interested in economizing the use of acoustic releases. Typically, this fishery uses a single pot per buoy line. In order to economize, they were looking to see whether they can develop a trawl system in conjunction with ropeless fishing. Also, the distance between each pot within the trawls was experimented with to see how that might affect catch rates. I should say now in 2022, there are plans for 21 snow crab vessels to proceed with commercial ropeless fishing. You can see in this slide the areas that were accessible for ropeless fishing due to closures, which were due to the presence of North Atlantic right whales. On the left figure, you can see the areas available on May 14th, and on the right, as the season progressed, more areas opened up for ropeless fishing, and on June 11th, the last set was made in the experimental ropeless fishing, and in all cases, the crab catchers were available to be sold commercially. In order to engage in a group environment, the introduction of ropeless fishing in the snow crab fishery in the southern Gulf of St. Lawrence, a meeting was held on March 31st, organized part by Corbo Engineering. It involved the crabbers as well as the DFO conservation and protection staff. And the purpose was to give instructions on the use of the EdgeTech ropeless fishing system. I should highlight this slide in terms of it's beginning to integrate all the important players in this operation moving towards ropeless fishing, and is a significant achievement. As can be expected, there were some successes and challenges in the southern Gulf of St. Lawrence snow crab fishery when operating ropeless fishing. With the EdgeTech system, they discovered they had 100% success rate in buoy surfacing. However, there are a few flags to be raised here, and one is some occurrences of incorrect messages being relayed to the user, both as false positives and false negatives. Also, there were 2 incorrect location transmissions, and the industry recommends that a PC-based software be developed by EdgeTech along with a fixed transducer that does not rely on Bluetooth. The Canadian Wildlife Federation has also been an important player in the development of ropeless fishing in Atlantic Canada. CWF has been working closely with the fishing industry since 2019 to trial innovative technologies designed to reduce entanglement risk for marine mammals. 400 deployments of 5 different on-demand systems have been trialed. These trials have been done throughout the maritime provinces, including the Bay of Fundy, the Scotian Shelf, Northumberland Strait, and the Gulf of St. Lawrence. The Canadian Wildlife Federation has worked directly with 8 fish harvesters on at-sea trials and have engaged with more than 20 fisheries associations, including First Nations stakeholders on this program. Trials have been conducted with American lobster and snow crab gear on vessels of various sizes and under varied environmental conditions. An important player has also been Short Innovations. They've led pioneering work with their Moby and Atlas ropeless fishing system. They've trialed their gear with both lobster and snow crab in conjunction with the Canadian Wildlife Federation, with Area 19 Fishermen's Association, and with First Nations Passamaquoddy in southwest New Brunswick. Here you can see a couple of photos from their work that they're doing with Passamaquoddy First Nations out of St. Andrews and Grand Manan. This work was done in the summer of 2021, and here you can see they were also allowed to use their lobster catch, but in this case for food and ceremonial purposes. The Passamaquoddy Recognition Group was funded by the Atlantic Fisheries Fund. They used 2 vessels, fishing trawls of 10 stainless steel traps, also designed by Short Innovations, and as mentioned in the previous slide, the work was done out of southwest New Brunswick. There was 1 Moby acoustic release and 1 safety line for each trawl, and the work was done primarily in late June, and they're looking to have an extension done for work being done in November of this year. And as mentioned, their catches were not sold, but were used for food and ceremonial purposes. The Bay of Fundy offers some challenges that don't exist in other Atlantic coast fisheries, and in particular, the highest tides in the world occur in this area, and these currents can act on the vertical line as it emerges with the small hard plastic buoys that are used in ropeless fishing, and such that the time window for gear retrieval is much lower compared to the use of larger inflatable buoys that are basically have a soft shell covering and are basically at the surface all the time. And so perhaps there may be some assistance needed in marking those buoys electronically so they can then be found in a much shorter period of time. Also, there may be difficulties in locating gear after a storm when using ropeless fishing. But then again, the opposite might be true too, that the absence of surface buoys during a storm may prevent gear from being shifted during heavy seas. So there's something still to be looked at here for sure. Other challenges, not specific to the Bay of Fundy, but in general, include gear conflicts. And those would include, for example, in multi-species fisheries where trawling occurs, and it'd be important for those vessel operators to be able to view the seafloor to see where gear is set in a ropeless fashion. Also, the type of virtual gear marking is important. CWF and Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution has led some stakeholder meetings at which DFO participated over the last year, and a workshop was held in September of this year, in which it was made clear that there's still a number of issues to be worked out here. Also, education and training are important things that need to move forward. The reliability of the devices, affordability, and also availability. This is my final slide. I want to thank you for your attention. A lot has been done since 2018, and as you can see, there's still many things to move forward on. This is a photo of a vessel, snow crab vessel in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, experimenting with ropeless fishing systems. Thank you once again.